All right, I want to go back to Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management, and we call him just Grandpa David Aslan right now.
Thanks
David, congratulations to you. I'm not going to let you let go of this, my friend. But besides good news on that, in this topsy-turvy world, we need to hear good stuff like that. I'm wondering what you make of the back and forth on these cabinet positions and who might get in. And I've long subscribed to the view, David, I don't know about you, that in his heart of hearts, maybe Joe Biden would prefer a Republican Senate because it would not put him under the pressure to choose some of these names. But what do you think?
Well, I've heard you say that before, and I'm inclined to agree with you, although, the pressure from the left is intensified by his vice president pick, Kamala Harris. I mean, she's pretty far on the left. Yeah. Her voting record certainly indicates that from when she was in the Senate. So it's not only going to be from the progressives like the Quad, like Ocasio-Cortez and so forth. It's going to come right from his VP choice, that push to the left. However, having said that, there are people like Janet Yellen who I think will satisfy a lot of people who are in the progressive camp and a lot of more moderate people, because we've seen what she's done as Fed chair. But she is also in favor of some things, or is indicated being in favor of some things that are pretty radical, like negative interest rates and things like that. So I think that's why I'm putting my money on Janet Yellen. I think she's the most likely choice. But he went so far out in the left in the primaries, being in favor of student loan forgiveness, being in favor of Green Deal, getting rid of carbon energy and everything. And now he's still in the stage of walking back, trying to get the support of those 74 million Trump voters, or at least something. He'll never get their full support, but at least some indication that he's recognized he's got to govern the whole country and not just the people that voted for him.
You know, Rebecca, I want to do a little bit of a what-if situation with you. I know everyone seems to think that we'll have this Republican Senate, but what if, for whatever reason or reasons, or maybe the count fight going on in Georgia as we speak, that both those races actually do go to the Democrats, and the supposition that we had that all those tax increases that Joe Biden's considering and all these other measures do in fact go into place, then what?
Yeah, you should see the look of horror on my face, because to be in the middle of this pandemic and to be knowing that we're on the verge of a second, maybe massive shutdown, especially Biden himself has talked about that. You know, to do that and raise taxes at the same time, Neil, if you want to see the greatest depression in the history of time, this is what it looks like. Blue, 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 tax hikes and shutdowns. We might as well just, basically all create our own jails and figure out how we're going to, make our own food.
Wow.
It's a little extreme. But, David, what would the markets do? I mean, just on news of that, on January 5th or January 6th, let's say we get the results of Georgia. They're both Democrats. Then what?
Well, I wouldn't go as extreme as as my fellow panelists, but however, the markets would hate it. Look, we've tried this before. I think the worst economic policy decision of the Obama-Biden administration was coming out of a recession to raise taxes and increase regulations. That's exactly the opposite of what you want to do to get the economy churning again. You want to lower tax rates to increase incentives for businesses to grow, for people to hire more individuals. And it looks like if there is a Democrat Senate and Democrat House and Democrat president, and you have the tax hikes, you're going to see disincentives for growth. You're going to see the same, at the very least, you're going to see the same extraordinarily slow recovery from the downside that you saw in 2009, 2010, 2011 of the Obama-Biden administration, because they made that critical mistake of raising taxes and increasing regulations when they should have been doing exactly the opposite.
Rebecca, obviously, vaccines get a lot of attention in the markets, as we discussed in the last hour, as of the spike in cases in the virus that are more of a short-lived concern, or certainly a shorter-term concern. It's possible when all is said and done that we could have 4 or 5 vaccines or remedies or treatments to deal with the virus. Once again, proposition whether that overcomes whatever impact this Georgia race would have on the markets. What do you think?
I don't know about overcoming it. I think I agree completely with David that we definitely do not need, higher tax policy in the recovery. So let's just assume that we were back to work and everything was open tomorrow. We still are in the recovery period, and so tax hikes during the recovery period are already problematic. As David mentioned, it was the slowest recovery in the history of America. But the problem is, Neil, we're talking about, they're talking about shutting down. And what about this vaccine? The vaccine, I'm glad there's multiple because, AstraZeneca has a more traditional vaccine, whereas some people might be weary of the Pfizer and the Moderna, which are more recombinant DNA, new technology. It's good to see that there'll be choices so that people that might be skeptical can go to something that's more traditional. So bring them on, bring them all kinds so that we can have America sort of accept them en masse and then get back to normal. We need to get back to normal. If we can. There is
whatever
a
that is. I don't even remember what normal was now.
Right.
Thank you guys very, very much. Rebecca, David, great seeing you.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for coming in on a Saturday. All right.